Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a basic car stereo installation. This is going to be on a 1997 Honda CR-V. Let's say you purchased a radio from Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. That's basically what I've done here. I'm just trying not to spend very much money on this. So in this video I'm going to show you how to take out the original radio. I'm going to show you how these dash kits work, as well as the wiring. Like I said, this was from a car that was previously installed, so I'll be removing the wiring harness for the radio from all this mess here, and then we will jump in the car and show you how it comes apart. And basically the fundamentals are all the same if you're changing a radio in a car. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that now, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a dash kit for the vehicle we're installing the stereo in. We've got a wiring harness for the vehicle we're installing this in. We've got the old radio. We've got the new used radio. And then we have the old wiring harness from the previous vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we do with this, what we do with all of these items here, and the tools that you're going to need in order to install the stereo successfully in your vehicle. So the first thing I want to do is I want to remove the wiring harness for the radio from the other vehicle's harness. And all we need for that is a pair of wire cutters. I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting. So all I'm doing is cutting the wires that go to the original harness for the aftermarket stereo. And the previous owner had an amplifier, so they didn't use the speaker outputs, but we will be doing that, and we'll be hooking this up just like a standard stereo. Alright, so now that I've got these wires cut, I'm going to cut these caps off so that we can make the connection on our new harness. Alright, now we've got the harness for the radio completely separated from the previous vehicle's wiring harness. So we're going to set this aside. And what I'd like to do is go ahead and make these wires all the same length. So I'll find the shortest one, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it, because the wires on this harness are all the same length as well. Okay, so now we're all the same length. On the back of the package here, it shows you what all the colors are. Thankfully, they have standardized the colors on these harnesses and these harnesses that plug into the car. So really, it's just a matching game. You just match up the colors, make the connection, and you're good to go. What's going to be a little bit different on this one is it does have that bypass for the emergency brake, so that you can view the screen while in motion. So the tools you're going to want in this particular instance is wire crimpers. They also have a cutting tip on them, wire strippers, and a Phillips screwdriver. Now this could be a different setup for you. They do make crimpers that have the strippers built into them. So you basically just need something you can cut the wire with, something you can strip the wire with, and something you can crimp these connectors with. And these are what we call crimp caps. You can use crimp caps, you can use butt connectors, you can solder the wires, but on this particular installation I am just using these. So now I'm going to go ahead and strip back about a 1/2 inch of the insulation from these wires here. So the only wire I didn't strip back on this one is the reverse gear input. The reverse gear signal input. Basically the reverse wire for a rear view camera. I don't have one for this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this crimp cap on there. And now, actually the car speed signal input, I think I'm going to go ahead and cap that one off as well because we don't have that connection in this harness. So we're going to take this bypass, go ahead and strip about a ½ inch of insulation off these wires. So the reason I know where these wires go is I just cut them off the old, but it also is color coded still. The black goes to black, blue goes to blue for the remote power output. And if you're installing this on a car that has a factory amplifier, you definitely want to make sure that you hook this up on this harness. We're going to go ahead and open this one. So, as you can see, hopefully you can see, the wire colors are all the same as what's on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start hooking them up, matching the colors, and we'll be done with this part. Alright, so now that we're done with wiring the harness, what I like to do is take 2 zip ties, 2 wire ties, 2 cable ties, whatever you want to call them, and I will put one on the radio side, kind of near our connections, and then I will put another one on the car side. And now it's not so bulky, it's just a little easier to deal with in the car. Now this is not a necessity, it's just what I like to do. If you don't have wire ties or zip ties while you're doing this installation, not a big deal. You can use electrical tape also. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the dash kit for the stereo. Alright, first things first, we're going to go ahead and take the existing dash kit off of the radio. Just got 3 Phillips head screws. I'll go ahead and set this to the side. And now we're going to take a look at the dash kit for this Honda CR-V. It's a 957801, and if you need this particular dash kit, I'll have a link in the description below. Alright, so we're going to look for our vehicle on here, the application guide, and it says that our 97 Honda CR-V will be on page 9. I'm going to throw this up on the screen so you can see it. Alright, so according to this, this is the illustration we're going to go by. It says cut on the top, everything but the B tab. I don't know if I can get you to see the B on there, but there's a B there, and then I'm not seeing the H, but I believe this is the H. So all the other tabs can be cut off, and then we'll be able to move on to installing this in the car. Alright, all that's left is B and H. Alright, so we're going to open the glove box, squeeze the retaining clips and remove the stoppers. Lower the glove box and remove 2 Phillips screws from the left edge. Remove 2 Phillips screws from the lower steering column panel and remove them. Unclip the lower console cover below the ashtray and pocket. And remove. Remove 2 Phillips screws from the base of the center console. Open the console pocket and remove the 4 outer screws exposed. Unclip the center console and remove and to see that right there, try to, I don't know if you can tell how tight that is pulled, but that's what's keeping it from moving very far. So I'm going to unclip that and it should pull right away. There's a screw here, and I bet there's one on the other side. A screw here. So that's an 8mm or a Phillips. Sometimes with the Phillips, they're just in there so tight that it'll strip. So since I have the Phillips right here with me, I'm going to go ahead and try that. Well, that one's out. It's coming out. Alright, this side was, there's just not enough room to use the Phillips screwdriver, so I decided I'd go ahead and grab a ratchet. Okay. So at this point, the radio should just pull out. Okay, here we go. Alright, so I need to unhook these plugs here, and then the plug on the back of the radio right here. So for this plug, I'm going to use my handy dandy cotter pin extractor to push the tabs in and push. And so these Hondas have a pretty decent tab. Hopefully you can see it. It's right here. A lot of times you can push that with your finger. Pops right out.
Got an antenna wire. Pops right out. So now we'll get this out of this bracket and we'll get the new radio in place. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and remove these two screws on this side and these two over here, and then I'll come back. Alright, so as the instructions said before, we cut everything but the B and H tabs. So we'll go ahead and put this in place. Alright. So there is the new dash kit, which isn't much at all, but probably definitely looks better than if we didn't have it. So now we're going to slide the radio in from the back side. Just like that. And we'll line up these holes right here. You can see them, they line up very well. So I'm going to go ahead and run the screws in that we took out. So now we have this. This looks much better than the old radio. So now I'll grab the wiring and we'll plug the wiring harness in. Alright, so this is the factory wiring harness that plugged into the radio. This is the harness that we just pre-wired. Now we're going to plug it in. And now we could put the radio in, but since this unit has Bluetooth, I need to go ahead and run the Bluetooth microphone. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is tie up the, I'm going to get the slack off of it. So I'll go ahead and tie it so it doesn't fall down. Okay, and now I'll put a little bit of loopage on it. And I think I'm going to leave it just like that, and I'll tie it to the main loom here. Just like that. Alright, we are now ready to install the radio back in. Are you ready? So what we've got here, we got this plug right here. We have the Bluetooth microphone, and that plugs in right here where it says mic. So I get that. So the antenna wire is pretty tight, so I think I'm going to plug that in once I get this back in place. Try and get the heating and air controls plugged in. so the antenna wire is here, and it goes over here. Okay. So we went from this to this. This looks so much better. Better technology. I've got Bluetooth. I can talk on the phone. I can stream music.